sometimes it's rough being a Xbox fan, but then there's sometimes when there's good stuff that comes out and stuff like this really makes it worthwhile. And I can see, that there is a lot of Xbox fans that are excited about this. Now, let's be real. A lot of this stuff that's going on with Xbox hasn't helped fan perception or the perception that other people give Xbox in general. In fact, thanks to the negative perception that Xbox has gotten lately with the lack of exclusives and things like that, we sit there and we have this situation where even though PlayStation has no first-party exclusives for, it looks like, this entire year, PlayStation's getting all the glory because they, were really kind of free thinkers and made sure to have third-party exclusives lined up, which is something that Microsoft didn't do, oddly enough. Like, when we all suffered through that 2022 together, Microsoft didn't really do much to make it better for us. In fact, a few little meager scraps that we got, As Dusk Falls, Pentiment, and Grounded, they're all now going to PlayStation and Nintendo. So, what's interesting to me is PlayStation had Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, and God of War Ragnarok in 2022. We as Xbox fans got Pentiment, As Dusk Falls, and Grounded. And now PlayStation gets those two. So, yeah, tell me where the fair is in that. But anyway, I digress because I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing nothing but negativity. So, we'll try to be a little bit positive with this news because this really is good news and something that I personally am looking forward to. If Microsoft can get it right, then I think that this would be a big boon for all of us as fans. And, listen, Microsoft has the money to do what they want. It's just, when you look at the first part of this year, like, how can the first quarter of this year be so absolutely empty? Now, that's not to say that they haven't had anything. They've had hits, like Power World. That's like a incomplete game that's in Game Pass. It's not first party. They're going to have, like, third-party stuff like Stalker 2. But what about, like, the content for, from the first party? I think that's what people are really kind of looking forward to, and it doesn't look like we're going to be getting much in terms of that, at least the first quarter, until obviously if they were going to have something, they probably would have already announced it, since we know it looks like Hellblade 2 in May is going to be the first thing that they get. But if you're a Starfield fan, and maybe you are, because I am, it looks like Shattered Space expansion is going to be revealed soon. Starfield was released in September of 2023. Its player count has been steadily winding down on all platforms, and Starfield is now on par or has fallen below with the likes of Fallout 4 and Skyrim. For the most part, fans of Bethesda's spacefaring RPG are definitely waiting patiently for news of the game's first major expansion, Shattered Space. Those who purchased the higher editions, like me, of Starfield already have access to Shattered Space, which was named before Starfield was even released. However, we're now almost 7 months after the launch of Starfield, and nobody's any wiser about Shattered Space. That might be about to change. It's a small suggestion, but it's a suggestion nonetheless. Recently, it was discovered through a database that Starfield's listing on the platform has been updated to show an unknown app in the game's DLC section. This is a new addition to the game's metadata, but it's not known what the change indicates. To that, I kind of put it into perspective. Assessing the game section for Fallout 4 reveals a list of the game's downloadable content, including Nuka World and Vault Tech Workshop. It could suggest that something is coming soon to the Bethesda Game Studios is preparing for what it is, but they're keeping it quiet for now. Obviously the database is a treasure trove for tidbits like this, as the inherent transparency of the platform makes it impossible for anything to remain hidden. It's the first indicator that we have something extra coming to Starfield. We just can't tell yet if it's the Shattered Space or something smaller or less significant piece of DLC. In the coming months, Bethesda's open up to creation kit to modders, and at some point bringing the first major expansion into a somewhat barren landscape of the biggest game it has ever created. Some are arguing that it's too little too late, but it's sure to bring vast swaths of players back to the game when something is released. And again, listen, I'm excited for when they actually can release this and, do something with it. I love Starfield. I thought it was a really good game. And, I know everybody is going to feel kind of differently about this game or hey, this game is this, that, or the other thing. But for me, it delivered in, you know, a lot of the aspects that I was looking for. It was something different. It was, you know, a lot of people were comparing it to, like, say, a Fallout game. For me, I'm not a Fallout fan. Now, maybe it's just me, but overall, I think, you know, Fallout games have been stuff that I've tried in the past, and, you know, unfortunately, they just haven't been for me. Like, and it's not that they're like terrible games. It's just that when I'm playing a game, right, I don't like the idea of scrounging for 3 bullets and then having like 10 enemies attack you, right? Like, that's just not my thing. And, you know, it's kind of unfortunate when you see, you know, that kind of situation in Fallout. Like, it's a regular thing, you know, like, hey, let me scrounge for these bullets or whatever. You know, because a lot of people also thought that Outer Worlds was like Fallout, and I played Outer Worlds and loved it. So I don't really look at that as a fair comparison. To be honest with you, I think that, you know, they're completely different games. I love what Microsoft is doing for sure with you know, with their platform and things like that. But at the same time, you know, we got to see what this is going to be, right? Like, we bought into this game, and trying to compare it to stuff that has a bunch of content and a bunch of mods on Steam isn't really an accurate representation. It's a single player game, right? Like, if you were to go back and say, okay, well, who's playing Spider-Man 2 right now? Probably not a lot of people, right? It's a single player game, they beat it, but when they come out with DLC, people will go back to it. You know, it's the same thing with Starfield, and they'll mod it, and it'll be this, and it'll be that. It's going to be a typical thing, and so that's, I think, worth getting excited about on the platform. Like, Xbox has cool stuff like this to be excited about, but I think, you know, there's so much stuff going on behind the scenes. There's so much, hey, you know, are we going to even have exclusives? And I think we won't know the full weight of all these things that are going on right now until like June, when they do their showcase, right? Let's say they announce some badass game. Is it going to be Xbox exclusive, or is it going to be just like some kind of nonsense, right? Like, I think that's what people are going to be talking about. That's what they're going to be worried about. You know, at the end of the day, I feel like it really kind of, you know, Microsoft kind of shot themselves in the foot with all of this stuff, and I really hope that they can kind of mend the fences. I don't know what they can do, but I also think that, you know, it's something that is worthy of talking about and worthy of potentially worrying about, because if you're a fan of the platform, you don't want it to go anywhere, and that is a real possibility if sales can drop further, you know. And I think this generation will be fine, like I've said multiple times, but we'll have to see what they can come up with and pull out of their rear for next gen. So I'll link this. Are you guys excited for Shattered Space? Do you have it pre-ordered? Is it, you know, did you get the bigger and better version? Let me know. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.